How are you? How's everything going? Rise and shine, rise and shine. Rise and shine, my beautiful people, because you know what? We living in such days that are beyond unprecedented. And I highly strongly advise that people just go and read your history. Simple things like history as of what happened and how did America get to where America is to begin with, and what year did it start, and what was going on before America became America is what we really need to be asking each other. And excuse me, and how Independence Day came about and who they took it from and who was the first type of people on the face of the earth to colonize the whole earth. Who was the first devil? Who was the second beast? Who was the third beast? Who was the fourth beast? Etc. Etc. Is what we really should be doing around this time so we can actually identify revelation taking place right before our eyes. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, in some crucial times that we are living in today, there's some people screaming, crying out loud, trying to sound the alarm. But are you listening? Are we listening? Are we listening to the point where our people are crying out? Listening? Are we listening to the point? Or our people trying, sending their ancestor frequency, but we're not hearing them as you know the people that do make a difference, because the people have the power, believe it or not. So with that being said, another nurse exposes what's going on in New York City hospitals. Okay, and I cannot stress this enough. Like, let's hear what this poor child has to say. And when I heard it, it sounds like something similar to what all the other people that are crying and trying to warn the people, they saying the same thing. So what I would like to offer, as far as provoking your thought, let's try to go and Google these things. Like what causes what. Uh, what are these machines for? What is she talking about? And so you can get a better idea of how they are maliciously, viciously murdering people with hospital tools. And I cannot make this stuff up. Hear it from the horse's mouth, better yet.
Listen.
To what's happening in New York at some hospitals across the country, but for the most part, it seems to be New York. I'm just going to cut to the chase. The medical staff is killing the patients. It's not COVID. So you have nurses, medical professionals of all kinds afraid to speak out and tell the truth about what they're seeing in their emergency rooms, in their ICUs, all of those things. And I'm going to go into how bad it is in a second. It's gut-wrenching. And then you have the other 50% that are so terrified of COVID that they've thrown all critical thinking out the window. Basically, you go into the hospital with any type of upper respiratory issue, they immediately treat you COVID. Let's say a 35-year-old man walks into the hospital, has no previous conditions, is a healthy man, just has some respiratory issues. If his oxygen drops below 92%, and with over 6 liters of oxygen, they're venting. They're completely bypassing BiPAP, CPAP, all of it. Their justification for bypassing CPAP is that they don't want the open air circuit, okay? Whatever. So they're completely going away from BiPAP. They're going straight to venting. The medical community knows that venting people is typically a last-ditch effort. We know that the second a person is vented, they're saying that over 75% of patients that are being vented are not surviving. So a 35-year-old walks into the hospital, consents to being vented because they're so freaking scared of something that we now know is as deadly as the flu, that they're letting them vent them and put them into a medically induced coma or just give them sedatives.
Now let's be logical for the record. Okay, so let's try to understand these machines. So can CPAP make you short of breath? That's the real question. Like, these machines are talking to you, but you're not inhaling this. You're not embedding this. You're not doing your research. No one. Continuous positive airway pressure, CPAP, is an effective treatment for obstructive sleep. However, long-term compliance with CPAP is limited. We tested the hypothesis that CPAP levels routinely used during sleep increase respiratory drive, NRD, and breathlessness, which may discourage compliance. Now, I'm telling you right now, like, what is a CPAP? What is a CPAP machine? Can you trick a CPAP machine? What is a compliance in CPAP? Can CPAP weaken lungs? Will CPAP kill you? In other words, bypassing. Okay? When you hear this frequently, and you hear these they even have ways of how to run a CPAP machine. In so many ways, it can go wrong. Like, they have so many things here that you can actually look up. And it saddens my heart that people can't go out their way to literally, you got people with big platforms like Candace Owens, if you will, that she could have made a whole 45 minutes video, and by time with the platform that this girl has, but you know what it is? They're sold out. They are so sold out. And it's so sad. But let's hear what this girl has to say some more.
This is how they're treating patients in these hospitals. They are not giving hydroxychloroquine. They actually laughed when they were asked about it. They are not giving Z-Paks. They're not giving anything that we are seeing working all around the world.
Now, Trump and Ivanka made it their business to buy that medicine. I don't know what's the story about that medicine, but as I last checked, it's to help HIV, cure HIV, since I last heard. I don't know how true it is because I did not get into deep, but I will be doing some more research.
They have everybody on that is COVID and non-confirmed COVID, like that both, and these people are together. They're in rooms together. They are giving them broad spectrum antibiotics and sedatives and venting them and then leaving them to die. A direct quote from one of the charge nurses, when somebody had a fever of 104, was, "Oh, we're not going to medicate him. He's dying." Excuse me? I'm sorry, what? You're not even going to try? They're being told to not perform any life-saving, no CPR, nothing that is going to be basically like you signed a DNR. They're not doing the rapid tests that are giving you results in 45 minutes. They are using the ones that they have to send into the labs. And again, when asked why and how long those results take, they laughed and said 5 days if we're lucky. So what they're doing is they have COVID patients that are confirmed COVID, and then they have rule out COVID. They're ruling everything else out and assuming they're COVID. Rule out COVID. They're putting them in rooms together. These nurses are in the same protective equipment all day long. The only thing that changes is their gloves. If you know anything about cross-contamination or any of that, even the slightest bit, you know how bad that is. If you are a nurse, if you are a CNA, if you are any of those things, you know that is it's completely ridiculous to be venting somebody. These people are speaking in full sentences. Full sentences. They're alert, they're talking, they're just having some upper respiratory issues. You think that everybody's dying because of this COVID, when really it's the vents that are killing people. The problem is the oxygen level in the blood. Okay, that's the problem. This is not every doctor that is thinking critically and blowing the whistle is coming out and saying this is not ARD. This is not what we're used to seeing, okay? Usually when people are that severe, they can't speak to you. They are in distress. They can't breathe. These people are speaking sentences. These people are alert. They are not, it's not like they are struggling. The trucks outside with the bodies are real. They're very much real. Okay, first of all, if you guys were that concerned about COVID, why do you have a bunch of bodies that are infected with COVID just sitting in a truck outside? So it seems like this is political and that this is about money, because they get a lot of money for every COVID patient and they don't even have to test. A lot of them are not even testing. They are a rule out COVID, so now they can claim that they're a COVID patient. No autopsies are happening. Perfect scenario, they can't have guests there, so guess what? You don't have an advocate, you don't have a family member there with you, you don't have anybody to say, wait a second, something's wrong here. Like, if this is that bad, why are you in the same protective gear? Why are you not giving my spouse what we know works? Doctors are saying when they use the Z-Pak and hydroxychloroquine that they're seeing their patients recover in a matter of 48 hours, 72 hours, just completely better. People are dying and they are leaving them on hospital beds for hours. Hours with a patient in the same room. The charting is horrible. Horrible, okay? Horrible charting. They're barely charting anything. If somebody codes, they're not responding. If your loved one codes, they are not responding. The drips are being put outside the hospital room. If you've ever been in a hospital for any situation, you know your drip is right there. The drip is being put all the way outside the door. How are your nurses supposed to properly assess you if your drips are all the way outside the door? They're not even going in there at all. There are hundreds of nurses sitting in New York hotels on FEMA's dime that are not being used, while the hospitals are saying we are slammed, and some of them are. The nurses are freaking exhausted because they're venting everybody and killing everybody without even realizing they're doing it. And I can't imagine looking back 10, 20 years from now when everybody sees the truth and thinking, oh my God, I was a nurse, I was involved in that, and I thought I was helping people. It seems like this is happening in New York in the lower income hospitals. They're getting a lot of money for every patient that is COVID. They don't have to test them to prove they're COVID. They're getting even more money for everybody they're putting on vents. This is about money, and it seems like this is about politics. Like they want to make the numbers look high. They want to make Trump look bad. I just cannot believe that this is happening in 2020.
So I have a question.
So I know that this is Trump's fault. It's all of their faults. In fact, we're under a state of emergency. Trump has given all power to FEMA. And so who's controlling FEMA? That's a whole nother video. But why don't we start doing some research? As the American people, you know what? I just feel bad for the human people. My people. My people. When I say my people, I mean blacks and Latins. Black Latins. Black folks, my peoples, are in these hospitals because, like she said, low budget income hospitals. Pay attention to every word, every detail, because it makes a difference when you're trying to put the story and connect the dots, you know. So every word that comes out of these people's mouth, even if you have to stop and pause and Google what that shit means, please do your research. Now, that's just a little tip. Because what you can find out of one little word, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. And, you know, I know about that field very well. So when I hear these words, I already know what it is. I already know what it is. You understand? It is not a game. I am a first responder, so I know. Period. And I think that we can do more. I don't care. If now will be the time for white people to show how much color doesn't matter. Now would be the fucking time to show your gratitude. Not only back then when it was convenient, you know, in Civil War. And then, you know, when you think about it, you know, when we do go back to history, history does matter. History matters so much. You'll be surprised how much that shit matters. Because we can go as far as back as the British Empire, 1921. Okay, we can go back to American Revolutionary War. We can go back. Okay, to the 16th century and the 17th century. Okay, and the British colonization of the Americas. I mean, like, this shit goes way back. So trust me, being passed around through slavery and to watch this one more beast rise from the field called China, and trust me, they are working on your demise. Don't sleep on that shit. And I will be bringing you a whole nother video of that with the credit score and how they treat their people and all this shit. And they just got caught with their pants down in Africa. Like, this is what they looking like in Africa.
If you are hearing this broadcast,
Let me show you how they looking in Africa. This is them. Let me show you real quick. Real quick. This is the next beast. This is the one that's gonna come. And I'm telling you, he who leadeth into captivity shall be led into captivity. This is the days we're living in. Check this shit out. Don't sleep on these ugly motherfuckers right here.
It's the Brickhill Soundmaker.
Please carry on. Tiny Macado. Yeah. Let's take it back a little. When they gave us our freedom. Yeah. We thought everything would be okay. Never knew they operating the slavery. Misery and misery is what we see. Agony and pain is all we feel. In the rest there is all we do. Yeah. And when the child man is trying to take over my lives, trying to steal our race and see. Africa, we gon' rise up, get it strong back. Hey, in the red slavery is what we're doing. General, oh yeah. If we can come together, blacks all over the world, we can conquer. One voice, one mind, we can conquer this. With one voice, one line, someday we'll win. It's so painful, one pity I will leave it. Hope someday we can free. My brothers and sisters, let's rise up so that we can win this race. We've been working a time, but they're depriving us from our rights. This is the right time for we to get up and take what's yours and mine. They've been fooling us, they're fighting us, trying to turn our back to each other. Enough is enough. Let's rise up cause we are one. Yeah, yeah. In the red slavery is what we're doing. Big general, oh yeah. If we can come together, blacks all over the world, we can conquer. With one voice, one mind, we can conquer this. With one voice, one line, someday we'll win. Yeah. Can't do this alone. I need you, my black brothers from all over the world. We need to join arms together and fight for our rights. One voice, one mind, one soul, one spirit. We can get it. Time's traveling. Yeah. Tiny McConnell. Thanks for the inspiration. It's Clarion.
And don't forget to go and subscribe to Clarion Opele on YouTube, same name. And don't forget to go and follow him on SoundCloud. And you already know this, your girl, to Talk with Tiny. Let me tell y'all something. I'm out here everywhere. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just trying to sound the alarm, because what they getting ready to do is far. I don't know. It's just another beast who could wear the saints out. The Christians, this fake ass Christianity shit. These white honkies too busy calling their fellow selves the peculiar people, the salt of the earth, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. And Christianity is a fucking curse. Snap out of it. Like, share, subscribe, and don't send me no damn ass troll, because I swear my block list is so long, and I'm telling you right now, get your message and get the fuck on. Hey, like, share, subscribe.